Chapter 1133. Students from both sides went up and bowed to each other. There wasn't much conversation. Both sides directly started the battle. One had to admit. This match between High Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Profound Class 2 was much more exciting than the previous few matches. The students' coordination, judging the timing of their attacks, strong attacks, etc. It made everyone's eyes lit up. But after the time it took to burn half a stick of incense, the spectators' hearts were all in suspense. They felt their blood boiling. Long Yun-Jan squinted his azure blue eyes as he stared deeply at the obviously strange students on the stage. Shengguan Luli is not the only one who makes use of profound yin qi. This match, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Looks like they will definitely win. Intermediate Profound Class 2's target is Devil Class. Shengguan Luli wants to make use of Intermediate Profound Class 2 to chase us out of the preliminary round. Qiao Jin and the rest nodded. They could all tell. Shengguan Luli was not the only student in Intermediate Profound Class 2. 10 students. At least 4 students made use of profound yin qi to control the students in the High Profound Class 2 to the extent that they had no chance to resist. However, no matter if it was the director or the main elder, no one discovered this. Profound yin qi, only those who knew the inside story would be able to sense it. Long Yun-Jan's expression turned colder and colder. He had not forgotten what the dark forces had done to him. He had not forgotten that the dark forces had manipulated him to attack Yi Qing Luo. He had not forgotten that his sword had pierced through Yan Shao Yi. Dark forces. It was all because of the dark forces. Even the Devil Class's students didn't put it to heart. But that matter would become a wound in his heart, a huge wound. He wanted to fill this wound. The only way was to destroy the dark forces. To kill the person who had manipulated him. Class Monitor. Sensing the strong murderous aura from Long Yun-Jan, Qiao Jin immediately grabbed Long Yun-Jan's arm and raised his voice, Class Monitor. Long Yun-Jan's clear eyes flashed. He regained his usual indifference. Qiao Jin looked at him for some time as he tightened his grip on his arm. But he didn't continue speaking. He and Long Yun-Jan had been brothers for a few years. How would he not understand where Long Yun-Jan's sudden murderous intent came from? Long Yun-Jan wasn't willing to say, so he naturally wouldn't ask. This was obviously a scene of brotherly love. But in the eyes of others, that was not the case. Devil Class won 2 rounds consecutively. Naturally, many people were paying attention to their situation. For example, the students from High Profound Class 1. You guys, look! A female student shouted loudly. It was hard to tell if she was agitated or excited. It's the class monitor of the Devil Class and the students of the Devil Class. The female student beside him immediately looked over. The class monitor of Devil Class and a student beside him were holding hands, their fingers intertwined. Most importantly, the 2 people intertwining their fingers were both men. It was a man. Was this a show of cutting one's sleeve in broad daylight? But to be honest, the appearance of the students in Devil Class is really much better than the other classes in the academy. Look at each and every one of them, the males are handsome and the females are beautiful. It's so pleasing to the eye. It's the one who's holding the Devil Class monitor's hand, other than being a little ugly, the rest of them all make one's heart palpitate. Even though they were High Profound Class students. Even though he was a student who lost the competition. But they couldn't stop their rotten hearts from swelling. Devil Class students, men holding hands and whatnot. Chapter 1134. The excitement of this group of female students also attracted the attention of other students. The students of High Profound Class 1 looked towards the direction of the Devil Class. After understanding the topic that the female students were talking about, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. All the male students' faces darkened. Cut sleeves. What was there to be excited about? Cutting sleeves and whatnot is so disgusting. The attention of the students of High Profound Class 1 was completely diverted from the arena to the devil class. All of them rubbed the goosebumps on their bodies and felt disgusted. The actions of these male students caused a group of female students to roll their eyes at them. They even received a bunch of pedantic, unromantic, and other comments. The two of them are a bit like the two in our class. A female student whispered. The other female students instantly understood and nodded. Similar. Very similar. While they were talking, the two people who were being discussed had already stood up from the waiting area of High Profound Class 1. Walking at the front, he was tall and slender, but he was tall and straight. He was handsome, and there was a brilliant smile on his lips. Walking at the back, his body proportion was perfect, slightly taller than the guy in front, and his expression was calm. The two of them stood up. All the female students instantly shut their mouths. Their hands covered their mouths tightly, not allowing themselves to scream out loud. It's Qi Yijing and Dong Huanglang. It's this pair. They are a pair. Speaking of Dong Huanglang and Qi Yijing. Although these two were freshmen who had just entered High Profound Class 1. But their talent and ability to comprehend were extremely strong. Moreover, they never gave up and had extremely strong willpower. In just a few months' time, they had already made the students of High Profound Class 1 completely accept their existence. And captured a bunch of fangirls. One attacking and one receiving. One hot and one cold. Like as Siamese twins, no matter what they did, they would stick together. Even when they went to the toilet, bathed, and slept, they were all together. This was simply a combination that made people's imagination run wild. Countless fangirls, with the eyes of a fangirl, watched Dong Huanglang and Qi Yijing walk towards the direction of the devil class. High Profound Class 1 instantly exploded. In a hubbub, guessing that the two of them were going to find the devil class, could it be that they were going to be the pair with the class monitor? Talking to each other, what does it feel like to be cut sleeves? When Qi Yijing and the other two walked over, Long Yunzhan and the others had already sensed them. Dong Huanglang was always friendly. He walked over and sat down next to Long Yunzhan. He put one hand on Long Yunzhan's shoulder. Long Yunzhan's eyes sank. He doesn't like strangers touching him. Even the students of the devil class would intentionally avoid him and not come into contact with him. A trace of frost appeared on Long Yunzhan's frozen handsome face. He released his qi and was about to attack Dong Huanglang's hand. A large palm covered his shoulder. The profound qi in his body was suppressed by a force. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked up. We don't mean to disturb you. We just want to ask why student Yi did not participate in today's competition. Classmate Yi. Yi Qing Luo. Students from the High Profound class would still come to inquire about Yi Qing Luo's whereabouts. Judging from his tone, he wasn't trying to pry. On the contrary, there was a hint of concern. Long Yunzhan retracted his imposing manner. What's your relationship with Qing Luo? Friends. Dong Huanglang said with a smile, we met during the freshman training. We are friends with student Yi. Freshman training. At that time, he didn't know Yi Qing Luo. Long Yunzhan frowned and looked at Qiao Jin. Qiao Jin nodded. Chapter 1135. He was indeed considered as Yi Qing Luo's friend. However, ever since they were separated, they had been busy with their own studies and hadn't had much interaction. However, the two of them were not bad people. In today's competition, I'm afraid that Intermediate Profound Class 2 is aiming for your devil class. Qi Yijing said lightly, if student Yi is not here, you'd better admit defeat in the third round. Admitting defeat did not mean that he was eliminated. Tomorrow's semifinals would be the true elimination round. If he could endure today's match and participate in the semifinals tomorrow, even if he lost, at least he wouldn't be injured or meet with any accidents. Long Yunjian and Xiao Jin looked at each other. These two people know the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2. He actually saw that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would win against High Profound Class 2. One had to know that everyone was sure that High Profound Class 2 would win this round. These two people had actually determined that Intermediate Profound Class 2 would be the class that would face off against Devil Class. There's something wrong with the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing went straight to the point. When we were fighting just now, I felt that there was a force in the bodies of these students that did not belong to them. Qi Yijing and Dong Huanglang were the two who had just entered the arena. The other 8 were carried out of the arena. Only the 2 of them, under the aggressive encirclement of Intermediate Profound Class 2, only suffered superficial injuries. When mentioning this matter, Dong Huanglang, who had always been careless, also lowered his voice. Yes, it's that force. It's disgusting, and we can't get close to them at all. If we react a little slower, we will definitely be killed. Dong Huanglang gnashed his teeth when he mentioned the word merciless hand. He rubbed his aching chest. There were several places on his body where Shengguan Liuli had struck. Purple bruises had already appeared on his face. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 are cheating. Qi Yijing said lightly. He had cheated to the point where even the dean and the elders of the general courtyard could not detect it. Even if they knew that Intermediate Profound Class 2 was cheating, they couldn't say it out loud. Most importantly, the 2 of them were not very interested in winning. Just that, when they saw the battle between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 2, Qi Yijing suddenly understood something. Intermediate Profound Class 2. If they wanted to obtain victory, they had to openly destroy the Devil Class on the stage. The enmity between Shengguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo was something they had heard from the other students. You guys can't beat Intermediate Profound Class 2. Qi Yijing looked at Long Yunjian calmly. His tone was calm as still water. He didn't mean to mock her. It was a suggestion from the bottom of his heart. It's impossible for me to surrender. Long Yunjian nodded slightly, expressing Devil Class's gratitude towards their concern. Devil Class students do not have the habit of retreating. The world had not perished, and they would not surrender even in death. Even though they knew that the road ahead was dangerous, they still didn't give up. They would also charge forward without hesitation. Because they were no longer weaklings. He was no longer trash. They wanted to move from the darkness to the light and welcome a new life. Because Yiqing Luo was still waiting for them. For Yiqing Luo, for the Devil Class, and for himself. They would never admit defeat. Most importantly, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them the chance to admit defeat. They, because of Shengguan Liuli and Yiqing Luo's blood oath, had no choice but to admit defeat. Shengguan Liuli's motive was to eliminate Devil Class in today's preliminary round. Which meant that the third round of competition. Chapter 1136. Seeing the attitude of Devil Class's students, Qi Yijing didn't say anything more. Dong Huanglang scratched his head. If Student Yi is not around, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to win. Thank you for your concern for Devil Class. Xiao Ji nodded at them. Immediately, he lowered his voice and warned, you should pretend that you don't know about this matter. Otherwise, you won't be able to defend against a fatal disaster. The 2 of them were stunned. Obviously, Devil Class's students had long seen through the motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2. They had also seen through the cheating of Intermediate Profound Class 2. Fatal disaster. The motive of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was not to beat Devil Class and become the Academy's #1 class. But wanted devil class's life. Seeing Qi Yi Jing's calm eyes, a glint flashed past. Qiao Jin kept the smile on his lips. I'm serious, the more you know, the faster you die. Dong Huanglang was stunned by this tone. It wasn't that he was afraid. But he was worried about Yi Qing Luo, worried about devil class. If it really involved a matter of life and death. Then, between intermediate profound class 2 and devil class, it wasn't as simple as Yi Qing Luo and Shengguan Liuli's little girl feud. Just as he was about to speak, his shoulder was pressed down by someone. It was Qi Yi Jing. Qi Yi Jing forcefully pulled Dong Huanglang into his arms. Ignoring his struggle, he said as he left, "Sorry to disturb you, if student Yi is back, please send our regards." Saying that, he forcefully dragged Dong Huanglang and left devil class area. Long Yunzhan, Qiao Jin and the rest didn't even glance at the two of them. But their hearts were unable to calm down. Intermediate profound class 2's actions were so brazen. The dark forces were already so arrogant to this extent. Qing Luo, was she really alright? The overlord he really arrived in time. Dong! The gong was sounded. The two classes that were locked in a stalemate on the arena had finally decided the victor and loser. It made everyone's jaws drop. The class that won, Intermediate Profound Class 2. Not only did the High Profound Class 2 lose, they lost terribly. The profound practitioner of the Earth Profound Realm was directly abused to the point of being carried to the infirmary. The crowd expressed. Strange things happened all the time, but there were especially many today. A single devil class winning 2 rounds consecutively was already a huge surprise to everyone. Now there was another Intermediate Profound Class 2. Consecutively winning 2 classes from the High Profound class. Moreover, it was the kind of crushing victory. The Heavenly Academy was going to soar to the skies this year. Of course, compared to the despicable fighting style of the devil class, the true strength of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 was like a dark horse in the Heavenly Academy. After this battle, Intermediate Profound Class 2 could be promoted to High Profound Class students. On the dean's side, the dean's expression was relatively calm. The other elders had weird expressions on their faces. He couldn't tell if he should be happy or worried. The students from Intermediate Profound Class 2 had crushed the students from the High Profound class. Logically speaking, this was an honor for the Heavenly Academy. However, the High Profound Class 2 that had always enjoyed the higher education of the Academy was actually crushed by the Intermediate Profound Class 2. If it was a battle between High Profound Class 1 and High Profound Class 2, it would be reasonable for High Profound Class 1 to win. But, Intermediate Profound Class 2 was separated by High Profound Class 1. Directly defeating Class 1, then slaughtering his way into Class 2, this would definitely make the headquarters suspect that the Heavenly Academy didn't know how to judge the students' comprehensive ability and allocated them to the most suitable class. For example, Shengguan Liuli, who was the brightest star in this competition. Chapter 1137. The third round of competition was between Intermediate Profound Class 2 and War Devil Class. 2 dark horses, who were supposed to be eliminated in the first and second round of competition. But they had successfully made it to the third round. The strength of Intermediate Profound Class 2 was already so strong. Then, could Devil Class still rely on their little tricks to win the preliminary round? Perhaps, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would not give them this chance. However, after experiencing 2 consecutive dark horses turning the tables, the spectators didn't dare to say who would be the true winner of the preliminary round. The gong was struck. Yun Duan looked at the direction of the waiting area. Now, will both classes please choose 10 students each to compete on stage? Intermediate Profound Class 2 made a substitution. Other than Shengguan Liuli and the 3 students who had the Profound Yin Qi, the other 6 were all changed. On the side of Devil class, there was also a change of members. Facing the students from intermediate profound class 2 who had the profound yin chi to increase their own strength. The other students in Devil class had no ability to contend against them. Hence, Long Yunjian, Qiao Jin, Yen Xiao Yi and the rest all went up on stage. Before going up on stage, Long Yunjian walked to Kitty Li and whispered a few words into her ear. Kitty Li's originally unhappy expression from being rejected to go up on stage immediately shone. Her bright eyes blinked and she nodded her head vigorously. Long Yunjian and the rest went up on stage. His peripheral vision kept looking at Kitty Li's direction. The surrounding people's attention were all focused on the two dark horse classes on stage. No one noticed that Kitty Li had already left the Devil class silently. Until Kitty Li's breath completely disappeared, Long Yunjian then slowly retracted his gaze. If Kitty Li went up on stage, there was indeed a chance to increase their chances of winning. But Kitty Li was after all not a student of Devil class. The inter-class competition this time was an extremely important competition to the Devil class. It concerned their future and lives. There was no room for any mistakes. Hence, he chose to reject the preferential treatment given by the academy from the start. Devil class would rather use the method of pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger, to fight round after round of competition. And not because of the so-called preferential treatment, they won in the end and became a topic of ridicule. More importantly, he needed Kitty Li to do something. In the entire Devil class, only Kitty Li could do it. On the arena, the students from both classes stood still. Yun Duan looked left and right and frowned. Why is there one person missing from the Devil class? Yes. There were only 9 people from the Devil class. A 10-man team competition and only 9 people from the Devil class came up. Why are there only 9 people in Devil class? Could it be that Devil class doesn't dare to fight against intermediate profound class 2, and none of them are willing to go up the stage, so there are only 9 of them? That's not right. If the students of Devil class don't dare to participate in the competition, they wouldn't be sitting there quietly watching the competition, right? Look at the expressions of the Devil class students, they're very calm, there's no sense of fear or an atmosphere of not daring to go up on stage. What is the Devil class up to this time? Don't tell me, it's another new trick from the Devil class. The surrounding crowd was in a flurry of discussion, unable to comprehend the actions of the Devil class. Devil class against low profound class 2, it was a battle that they would definitely lose. Unfortunately, Devil class was missing one person to participate in the competition. Shengguan Liuli stood right at the front. She raised her head arrogantly and sneered in disdain. Devil class monitor, are you looking down on intermediate profound class 2? Long Yunjian looked at her calmly. The last position is reserved for Qing Luo. The entire crowd was silent. Chapter 1138. For Yi Qing Luo. Didn't Yi Qing Luo not appear at all? Don't tell me Devil class is still hoping that Yi Qing Luo will lead them to victory. Stop joking, today's competition is about to end and Yi Qing Luo hasn't even seen her shadow. She's obviously scared. Everyone felt that Devil class's move was a joke. However, Long Yunjian's expression remained unchanged as he remained indifferent. His azure blue eyes were emotionless as he stared at Yunjian in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. As though he was infected by this pair of eyes. Yunjian's tightly knitted brows slowly relaxed. He sighed softly. Are Devil class students confirmed? Confirmed. Without any hesitation, the 9 of them answered in unison. Since both parties have no objections, then the competition officially begins. A gong rang, stirring up everyone's hearts. Yunjian was about to retreat when he saw Shengguan Luli raising her hand and shouted, "Wait a minute." Shengguan Luli placed her hands behind her back. She slowly took a step forward with an arrogant expression. 2 months ago, my intermediate class 2 and devil class had already agreed on a challenge for the interclass competition. The surrounding crowd remained silent. Moreover, I, Shengguan Luli, and student Yiqing Luo, have also agreed on a blood oath to win the interclass competition. This matter, there were quite a number of people present who knew about it. After all, when they were in King Ling's tomb, Yiqing Luo had agreed on a blood oath with Shengguan Luli in front of all the major forces. So the reason why the intermediate class 2 fought bravely was to carry out the blood oath with Yiqing Luo till the end. Today's battle, according to Heavenly Academy's rules, whoever wins will be able to enter the finals directly. And the losing class will participate in tomorrow's semi-finals. Shengguan Luli's lips curled up coldly as her eyes revealed an extremely cold intent. Shengguan Luli, can I represent the intermediate class 2 to make a request to the director? She cupped her fists and looked respectfully at the director. The director naturally knew about the profound yin qi in Shengguan Luli's body. Shengguan Luli's request was the master's order. He naturally had no objections. Please speak. In this battle, if the devil class loses, the devil class will be completely eliminated and will be disqualified from the interclass competition. Shengguan Liuli said word by word. The onlookers were in an uproar. He was disqualified from the interclass competition. This also meant that devil class's interclass competition this year would stop at the third round of the preliminary round. He didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the semi-finals. Isn't this too much of a gamble? What if intermediate profound class 2 loses? Yan Xiaoyi suppressed the surging anger in her chest as she asked with a cold smile. Shengguan Liuli smiled confidently. Intermediate profound class 2 will definitely not lose. Is that so? Yan Xiaoyi raised her eyebrows, her smile carrying a tinge of mockery. Devil class will definitely not lose. You. Shengguan Liuli gritted her teeth. If intermediate profound class 2 loses this battle, then intermediate profound class 2 will be disqualified from the competition. Student Shengguan. In the intermediate profound class 2 waiting area, a few students suddenly stood up. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Losing in the preliminary round meant disqualification. How come they didn't know about this matter? Lu Xiaoyu couldn't control her temper as she stared angrily at Shengguan Liuli. What right do you have to decide on the matters of intermediate profound class 2? Class monitor Xie didn't even say anything and you're already pointing your fingers here. Have you asked for the opinions of the students? Shengguan Liuli slowly placed her gaze on Lu Xiaoyu. Chapter 1139. Was this considered as talking? Was this considered as discussing? This was obviously her own decision and she just casually told the students about it. The students in the intermediate profound class 2 started to feel conflicted. Although the reason why they were able to enter the third round was mainly because of Shengguan Luli. But this didn't mean that they had to listen to Shengguan Luli's arrangements. This was not putting them in his eyes at all. I don't agree. What right do you have to represent the intermediate profound class 2 and bet the future of the intermediate profound class 2 on the preliminary round? Lu Xiaoyu bit her lower lip as her beautiful eyes turned red. Shengguan Luli arrogantly raised her chin as she looked at her in disdain. Based on the current me, I am the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2. The strong were respected. No matter where it was the same. In the academy, in the class, it was the same. The reason why Xia Yan was able to become the intermediate profound class 2's class monitor was because his ability was indeed above all the students in the intermediate profound class 2 and he was resourceful. Now, Shengguan Luli had already replaced Xia Yan's strongest position. Then, the intermediate profound class 2 should listen to her arrangements. As long as we don't acknowledge you as the strongest person in the intermediate profound class 2, you will never be able to replace class monitor Xia. Lu Xiaoyu argued with reason as she clenched her fists tightly. Shengguan Luli didn't bother about her as she looked directly at the director. What does director think? This. The director pretended to be in a difficult position as he looked towards Devil class. The Academy's interclass competition is to evaluate each class or student's overall ability. Everything is based on the students. If Devil class has no objections, I naturally have no objections. Shengguan Lu Li's beautiful eyes were filled with disdain as she looked coldly at Long Yunzhan. Your Devil class, without Yi Qing Luo, is equivalent to a pool of dead water. Without her around, you don't have the guts to compete. Goading. Long Yunzhan's icy cold voice was devoid of emotions. Devil class's students weren't fools. Shengguan Lu Li's motive was obviously to expel Devil class out of the competition. As long as Devil class lost the right to compete, the final champion would definitely be the intermediate profound class 2. Which meant the Yi Qing Luo and Shengguan Lu Li's blood oath bet, Yi Qing Luo had lost. What awaited Yi Qing Luo was the consequences of her meridians being broken and her profound jade heart being destroyed. And rejecting Shengguan Lu Li's request. If the Devil class entered the third round of the preliminary round, it would be considered as their loss. There was no way they could make a comeback in the semi-finals tomorrow and the finals the day after tomorrow. As long as Yi Qing Luo returned. As long as they won first place, there was hope. How could they agree to Shengguan Liuli's request? General. You bunch of trash dare to call yourselves generals? Shengguan Liuli wildly laughed. Cowardly trash, this miss will properly teach you a lesson today. Profound qi burst out of his body. Powerful profound qi encircled her body. A powerful force that was strong enough to destroy the arena erupted with a rumble. If it wasn't for the fact that the barrier around them was strong enough. Perhaps this profound energy could directly shatter the entire arena. Shengguan Liuli made her move. Long Yunzhan's expression turned serious as he shouted in a low voice, "Be careful." With a flip of his palm, a blue longsword appeared in his hand. The hilt of the sword spun a few times and was firmly held by him. The long sword flashed and flew straight toward Shengguan Liuli's face. The other students also began to attack. This time, Devil class didn't act like how they did previously, to deal with intermediate profound class 2. Instead, it was a battle of strength that conformed to the norm. Chapter 1140. They wanted to find the students of intermediate profound class 2 who had Xian Yin Qi in their bodies in the shortest time possible. Test the opponent's profound grade and habits, then filter it in their minds and analyze the most suitable way to deal with the enemy. This was what Yi Qing Luo had taught them. Know yourself and know your enemy, then you can win every battle. The ability to observe and analyze was crucial on the battlefield. But, very quickly, the Devil class students were sweating profusely as they were pushed back by the attacks with great difficulty. Extremely strenuous, extremely pathetic. Because, they realized. The few students from the intermediate profound class 2 who were participating in the competition. All of them had profound yin qi in their bodies. Under the situation of hiding their profound grade, facing these students' aggressive attacks, every move aimed at their vital points, it was inevitable that the Devil class students would not be able to withstand it. Even so, the performance of the Devil class students stunned the onlookers. This was totally different from the Devil class who played dirty tricks and scurried around the stage. Although, the profound grade was rather low. Although, the attack was rather weak. But for the waste class, to be able to achieve this level, was already very good. Yes. Very good. At least, it was enough to match the strength of the low profound class. Intermediate profound class 2 is thinking. Dong Huang Lang's usual smiling face was filled with worry as he tugged the sleeves of the man next to him. Jing, will Devil class? Yes. Qi Yi Jing grabbed his hand with a calm face and indifferent tone. Yes. Dong Huang Lang's pupils suddenly widened. Devil class cannot lose. Student Yi is not back yet. So what? Qi Jing glanced sideways, his cold gaze fell on him. Lang, this is the fate of devil class. You are not a student of devil class. Even if you want to help, you have the heart but not the power. Dong Huang Lang pursed his lips. Intermediate Profound Class 2 obviously saw devil class's teamwork ability. I always thought that Shangguan Luli was a stupid girl like a pig. I didn't expect that. She improved so quickly. Qi Jing's tone of praise was still that emotionless. Indeed, the entire Heavenly Academy, from the elders to the students and staff, they were all extremely curious about Shangguan Luli's change. Ever since Shangguan Luli entered the school, because she was not on good terms with Yiqing Luo, and her temperament was too arrogant. Most importantly, her brain wasn't working very well. But who would have thought that in just a few short months, Shangguan Luli had not only changed from a young lady who couldn't even run a few laps during the freshman training, but had also become a powerful high-level profound practitioner. Furthermore, his mind was starting to shine. In the arena, Intermediate Profound Class 2 was entangled with Devil Class. The students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 had specially chosen a place. Directly fighting and chasing, he separated the 9 Devil Class students by a long distance. The teamwork of the Devil Class was simply too strong. He had to separate them and defeat them one by one. This was the tactic of Intermediate Profound Class 2. As long as they did not allow the students of the Devil Class to have the chance to cooperate with each other, Devil Class could only fall to the ground, raising the white flag and surrender trash. Shangguan Liuli's method was indeed effective. Just as the 9 of them pulled apart from each other, the Devil Class students obviously started to be unable to hold on any longer. He couldn't even dodge a simple punch. No one noticed that the 9 Devil Class students, before they were pulled apart from each other, exchanged glances. The corners of Shangguan Liuli's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and she retracted her gaze from those trash. She focused all her attention on the Devil Class monitor in front of her. This Long Yunjian was indeed the class monitor of Devil Class. Chapter 1141. But the opponent was her. No matter how much ability Long Yunjian he had to kneel down and beg for mercy. Shangguan Luli squinted her sinister eyes as she raised both her hands and drew a semicircle in midair. A wisp of black smoke appeared, and 2 double-edged daggers appeared in her hands. This weapon. It was the weapon of the dark forces. And it used an extremely heavy profound yin qi. Long Yunjian's long sword flipped, and after forcing out a ray of blue light, he swiftly retreated. At the same time, Shangguan Luli held her dagger and stuck close to him. Long Yunjian didn't manage to retreat too far, and his back was touched by an icy cold blade. His reaction was swift as he turned around and landed in the left corner. Looking back, he saw an Intermediate Profound Class 2 student holding a broadsword, glaring at him with Yiqing Luo. Intermediate Profound Class 2 students, each entangled with a student, was enough. And the additional students were to cooperate with Shangguan Luli to subdue Long Yunjian. You're indeed the class monitor of Devil Class, you have some skills. Shangguan Luli sneered, looks like that slut has trained you bunch of trash. Well, I thought you could end the battle quickly. Long Yunjian didn't respond but squinted his azure blue eyes as he sized up that student. In just a few breaths, he had already wielded his sword and attacked that student. Shangguan Luli sneered in disdain as she flipped her dagger and blocked Long Yunjian's sword qi, but this is interesting. What I like the most is to slowly torture my opponent to death. Today, if you don't admit defeat, I will not stop. Her tone was getting more and more vicious. It made one's hair stand on end when they heard that. The eerie smile had already twisted that delicate little face into a hideous, extremely terrifying sight. But unexpectedly, Long Yunjian's long sword, which was originally thrusting towards that student, as it neared the Intermediate Profound Class 2 student, a side sweep. It directly brushed past Shangguan Lu Li's dagger and slashed towards Shangguan Lu Li's abdomen. The continuous profound qi was like a raging wave, covering the sky and earth. It directly enveloped the both of them. The blue sword qi lingered and the sword ray pervaded. The surrounding air also followed the sword qi's attack. Shangguan Liuli's face turned green, and she quickly dodged. No matter how fast he was, he could not avoid being injured by Long Yunzhan's sword qi. That sword ray directly brushed past her clothes. A tear appeared on his greenish-white uniform. The torn cloth fell to the ground, revealing the traces of the red moon soil pouch. Even though the sword didn't cause any damage, it was still not enough. But this sword was an insult to Shangguan Liuli. She clenched her fists tightly, and her ruthless eyes flashed with intense hatred. Shangguan Liuli didn't care about the clothes that had been torn on her abdomen. She gripped her dagger tightly and flashed towards Long Yunzhan. The sharp double-edged dagger in his hand pressed against Long Yunzhan's neck. Devil Class Monitor. Shangguan Liuli clenched her teeth as she spat out these few words. The dagger in his hand had yet to slash across Long Yunzhan's neck. She saw that the person she had been entangled with had disappeared like a ghost in the blink of an eye. Her face instantly darkened. This class monitor of the devil class had actually embarrassed her twice. The current her was already a high-level profound practitioner of the earth profound realm. A piece of trash from the devil class had actually caused her to lose face time and time again. Good. Very good. She wanted to see what other abilities did this class monitor of the devil class have. She gave that intermediate profound class 2 student a look, and the both of them ran towards Long Yunzhan's direction at the same time. Chapter 1142. Below the stage, the spectators were completely stunned. This battle made all of them astonished and shocked. Devil class students. Their reaction to battle is not bad. Although they looked to be in a sorry state and suffered quite a number of injuries, but the speed of their attacks and the reaction to dodge, they totally don't look like students from the waste class. Devil class monitor is at least in the mystic profound 6th level. No, that's not right. It should be even higher. High profound class 2's Lu Shuelon, in the earth profound realm, was defeated by Shangguan Lu Li. He can actually escape unscathed under the siege of Shangguan Lu Li and another student, attacking and defending freely. Heavens! Devil class monitor is so handsome. So handsome. Unknowingly, everyone's gaze had already been attracted by the students of devil class. But for the so-called waste class trash to have such a dazzling performance, it made them shocked and amazed. The students at the waiting area of devil class listened to the praises of those people. They couldn't help but snort coldly in their hearts. Just this level alone was enough to shock these people to no end. Then, if all the students of devil class collectively released their profound grades, wouldn't they be so shocked that they fainted on the spot? On the stage, the battle was still ongoing. It continued for a full incense worth of time. The result of the battle had yet to be decided. No, it should be said, the result was very obvious. Devil class students were obviously not a match for intermediate profound class 2. But one Long Yunzhan led the rhythm of everyone in intermediate profound class 2. Even if there was no team cooperation, but their rhythm was still led by Long Yunzhan. Even if they were injured and fell to the ground pathetically, devil class students still stood up without hesitation and rushed forward again. After being swallowed by the profound yin qi, a few students, their strength and their own overall ability, all received a huge increase. Naturally, their own souls would also be affected by the profound yin qi. As a student, their conscience and the youth's inexperience were all completely swallowed. Right now, they were just tools controlled by the profound yin qi. His attacks, without hesitation. His attacks, without mercy. His attacks, aimed for the vital points. Devil class students, even if they released all their profound grade strength, they might not be the opponents of these tools. Other than Long Yunjian, the other 9 students' faces and bodies were already covered with wounds. Qiao Jin was slightly better off. He was only punched on the left side of his face. As for the other students, their injuries worsened. Every punch or palm strike from these tools, which knew no pain, would mobilize the mysterious yin qi in their bodies. They do not use weapons. He had to rely on his fists and palms. This was the biggest torture to the devil class. Heavy punches landed on his face and chest. A heavy roundhouse kick landed on the knee and abdomen. Falling down, they picked themselves up again. Not a single one of the devil class students retreated. No one gave up the chance to continue fighting. They believed in only one thing: persevere, wait for Yi Qing Luo's return. They believed that Yi Qing Luo would definitely rush back. Ah! A blood-curdling scream. Yan Xiaoyi's chest was struck and her petite body flew backwards. Xiaoyi! Qiao Jin shouted in panic as he lifted his leg and kicked away the intermediate profound class 2 student who was pestering him, as he sprinted towards the direction of Yan Xiaoyi. He bent down and helped Yan Xiaoyi up. Just as he was about to open his mouth, Yan Xiaoyi stared at his back, her beautiful eyes enlarged as she endured the pain coming from her chest. Be careful. Her arms wrapped tightly around Qiao Jin's neck. Chapter 1143. Bam! With an explosion, a huge hole was blasted open on the ground where the 2 of them were. Ugh! Yan Xiaoyi's movement had affected the wound on her chest as she groaned in pain. Qiao Jin hugged her tightly as the 2 of them swiftly stood up. Are you all right? I'm fine. Yan Xiaoyi took a deep breath as she endured the pain from her body. In her beautiful eyes, there was a cold glint as she looked coldly at the 2 people at the side of the hole. The intermediate profound class 2 students who were entangled with her and the students who were entangled with Qiao Jin. They had already joined forces and were prepared to attack them. Looking at Yan Xiaoyi's pale face, Qiao Jin's eyes were sinister. Someone he couldn't bear to hurt. Intermediate profound class 2 students shouldn't dare to hurt her. Qiao Jin roared as a shocking cold glint shot out from his eyes. A strong gust of air rushed up to the sky. The air in the entire arena congealed into a block. His figure stretched out. He had already charged towards the 2 students. Both his palms were red, as though they were on fire. Directly hitting the chests of the 2 students. The 2 students were gloating over the huge destructive power that they had created. A whirlwind was stirred up. It cut their cheeks. Immediately after, the 2 of them felt a sharp pain in their chests as their bodies flew backwards. Before they could react, the 2 of them fell heavily onto the ground outside of the arena under the pressure of the strong palm qi. The 2 of them cried out in pain as they rolled on the ground. What did the devil class students do? That devil class student struck 2 intermediate profound class 2 students out of the arena with his bare hands. Heavens! Did you feel that strong profound energy from his body just now? Did you feel it? I don't believe it. I don't dare to believe it. How can a devil class student be so powerful? Being struck out of the arena meant that these 2 students had already been eliminated. Just now, Qiao Jin had merely struck out a palm and eliminated 2 intermediate profound class students. The surrounding crowd stood up agitatedly, unable to believe their own eyes. Just now, the profound energy from Qiao Jin's body was so thick, so strong. Qiao Jin. Yan Xiaoyi clutched her chest, her brows tightly knitted as she approached him from behind. Are you crazy? Just now, he had actually used his full strength to unleash that palm strike. Didn't they already inform him before he stepped onto the dueling ring? Before Yi Qing Luo returned, none of them were to reveal their true abilities. Qiao Jin did not reply. He spread out his hands and stared at them without blinking. He was extremely focused. Yeah, he's crazy. Seeing that Yan Xiaoyi was injured and almost turned into minced meat by those two students from Intermediate Profound Class 2, he went completely crazy. Chapter 1144. The potential of humans was beyond human imagination. In a moment of rage, in a moment of crisis, etc. In order to protect themselves or protect someone or something, they would erupt with strength that was several times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times stronger than usual. It was all because of a belief. Of course, after the eruption, the profound practitioner's own strength would also be exhausted in that instant. Just now, was it because the devil class students were desperate for survival, that's why they exploded with such a strong force and eliminated two students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2? That was the only excuse. Only then could it make those onlookers who didn't have high hopes for the devil class feel a little better. Trash students of devil class, how could they have such strong and dense profound energy? No matter how he thought about it, it was impossible. Yes, they could only accept the Survival Valley's unexpected outburst. On the stage, Qiao Jin did not have much time to spare, so he continued his performance. Although two students had been eliminated, the score was now 8-9. However, it was unable to change the situation on the stage. The student who had been attacking Long Yunzhan with Shengguan Liuli had already retreated, the large blade in his hand directly slashing towards Qiao Jin's face. Profound practitioners would exhaust all of their strength after erupting. Take advantage of this moment to injure Qiao Jin. They could directly eliminate Qiao Jin from the competition. Yan Xiaoyi caught a glimpse of the long saber, which was clearly overflowing with a treacherous and cold yin qi. Her heart tightened. If he allowed this weapon, which had been eroded by the mysterious yin qi, to cut his skin, it was highly possible that the mystical yin qi was channeled into his body through his wounds and blood. She quickly wrapped her arms around Qiao Jin's firm waist. Extending his feet, he was about to display the set of footwork that Yi Qing Luo had taught him. However, Qiao Jin's speed was faster than her. In just a moment, the two of them had already used that set of footwork to quickly disappear in front of the attacking student. How could I let you protect me? A low and hoarse voice rang beside Yan Xiaoyi's ears. Yan Xiaoyi's eyelashes trembled slightly, her delicate body, which was being hugged tightly by the man's arm, stiffened slightly. He didn't need her protection. What he wanted was the protection of another person. She looked down to hide the pain in her eyes. Suddenly feeling the downcast mood of the person in his arms, Qiao Jin furrowed his brows and lowered his eyes in confusion. He was saying sweet nothings. It was a serious flirtatious remark. Normally, when a girl heard this, wouldn't she throw herself into his arms shyly? Why was it that when it came to Yan Xiaoyi, it made her feel conflicted towards him? Qiao Jin, who had a baffled look on his face, had no time to think. The next wave of attacks had already arrived. A bunch of trash, but their willpower is quite strong. Shengguan Liuli looked at the situation. Even though she had lost two students, she did not panic. In any case, in this match, Intermediate Profound Class 2 would definitely win. Now, she was not using her full strength. He just wanted to torture the devil class. He could defeat the devil class in minutes. After going through so much trouble with the devil class, they had fought till the very end in exhaustion. When they thought that they would be able to win, the tables were turned in one move. Which one was more painful to the point of wishing for death? Shengguan Liuli sneered, still waiting for Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, to return. Hearing Yi Qing Luo's name, the eyes of the usually expressionless Long Yunzhan flickered slightly. The long sword in his hand swept up a blue wave of air as his attacks were swift and fierce. Shangguan Liuli quickly dodged. His figure was like a ghost. Chapter 1145. Long Yunzhan's eyes suddenly turned cold and frosty. The long sword in his hand was also stained with a thick chill. He directly flicked away the dagger that was close to him and flipped the long sword. The blue sword chi shone brilliantly. A cracking sound was heard. The double-blade dagger suddenly broke. The black chi dispersed. Shangguan Liuli's expression sunk as she staggered backwards. Before she could steady herself, she saw that blue sword ray, sweeping out from the long sword. Like a huge blue dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws, it instantly tore a huge pit on the stage between them. The blue dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, devouring Shangguan Liuli malevolently. Angry. Shangguan Liuli couldn't help but laugh. Your thoughts were exposed and you flew into a rage out of humiliation. She raised the other double-blade dagger, blocking the blue dragon's charge. She raised her leg and stomped hard on the stage, contending against the blue dragon. Unfortunately, little brother, the person you are waiting for, will never return. Shangguan Liuli smiled sinisterly, smiling till her eyebrows curved, looking even more ruthless. The profound yin qi in her body was activated. The palm wind stirred up a violent hurricane. A loud boom sound was heard. Shangguan Liuli had already held the double-blade dagger in her hand, directly cutting that illusory blue dragon into two halves. Shangguan Liuli flew up, laughing venomously. My lord has already arranged everything, waiting for her there. Once she goes over, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, won't dare to not return. She felt extremely carefree. These people were all Yi Qing Luo's dogs. She wanted to torture these dogs, one by one, until they were crippled. And then bring them in front of Yi Qing Luo. Let her see with her own eyes, how she tormented these dogs, bit by bit, to death. The more she thought, the more intense the madness in Shangguan Liuli's eyes became. Long Yunzhan's hand, which was holding the long sword, suddenly stiffened. A trace of coldness, like 10,000 years of ice, flickered in his eyes. The icy cold voice, like frost, every word, was like an icicle, piercing into one's heart. Say it again. After Shangguan Liuli forced Long Yunzhan's illusory blue dragon back, she flew a few steps back. She was extremely leisurely. With her current strength, even if she was alone, it was enough to defeat everyone in devil class. Even if I repeat it 10 times, 100 times, the truth will still be the same. Shangguan Liuli giggled, thinking of Yi Qing Luo's miserable look when she was tortured by the Lord. The more excited she felt. She was already imagining it. Once the competition was over, he would rush over to the Lord's place. She should be able to let Yi Qing Luo witness with her own eyes how she destroyed everything she had. Even though she knew it was a trap, Yi Qing Luo, that little slut, still went without hesitation. Chapter 1146. If the same thing happened to him. The dark forces would use any student of devil class as a threat. Even if he knew that the other party had planned this beforehand and had set up all sorts of traps, he would still go forward without hesitation. Because, if anything happened to the students he cared about, he would live in regret for the rest of his life. Because, he cared about them. This kind of feeling, for a stupid girl like Shangguan Liuli who only knew how to achieve her own goals, she would never understand. She will definitely come back. Long Yunzhan's tone was firm, confident, and without any hesitation. His eyes were cold, his long sword swept. The sword ray blossomed brightly. Ah! Shangguan Liuli's shoulder was pierced by his sudden sword. Her little face instantly turned pale. The blue sword chi was still lingering on the wound on her shoulder. With a slight movement, it affected her muscles, causing waves of throbbing pain. Damned devil class! How dare they hurt her? Good! Very good. Since the class monitor of Devil class wanted to die so much, she would grant them their wish. Let them fall to the ground in a state of despair. Shangguan Liuli's eyes flashed. Rays of profound yin qi wantonly moved from the bottom of her eyes. In an instant, her entire body was covered with thick profound qi. One wave overshadowed the other. One wave overshadowed the other. The entire arena set off huge waves on the outer layer. The air waves were monstrous. Billowing smoke curled up. Below the arena, the spectators who were blocked by the barrier, although they were not affected by the profound qi on the arena, but they could clearly feel the air waves around Shangguan Liuli. How aghast it was. Butler Shangguan, unable to control the excitement in his heart, stood up abruptly, and shouted in amazement, Earth Profound Level 1. Earth Profound Level 2. Earth Profound Level 3. Yes. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank was rising rapidly. One grade after another, it jumped up. It shocked Butler Shangguan so much that he wanted to stand on the table, singing loudly without caring about his image. In the end, Shangguan Liuli's profound rank stopped at Earth Profound Level 5. Her breathing gradually stabilized. Earth Profound Level 5. Earth Profound Level 5. Shangguan Liuli, a student of Intermediate Profound Class 2. He had actually become a 5th grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank had been stable at the 5th level of the Earth Profound Realm since the first few rounds of the preliminary round. All of a sudden, it rose 5 ranks in a row. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock. My jaw almost dropped to the ground. What kind of freak is this? The Shangguan clan's 5th young mistress actually possessed such formidable strength. Teacher Ren from Intermediate Profound Class 2 was also stunned. Your Intermediate Profound Class 2 actually has a 5th level Earth Profound Realm student. Why didn't you say so earlier? The High Profound Class 1 teacher nudged the teacher beside him. Earth Profound 5th grade. Their High Profound Class 1 losing to Intermediate Profound Class 2 wasn't an injustice. The teacher of Intermediate Profound Class 2 shook his head in astonishment. I don't know. In Intermediate Profound Class 2's teacher Ren's heart, he actually didn't have a good impression of this capricious and troublemaking 5th Miss Shangguan. The memories of Shangguan Liuli. It also stopped at the time when she formed cliques in the class, and recklessly threw a tantrum. He didn't expect that she was so strong now. As the teacher of a class, he basically checked every student's waist tag every 3 days to confirm the changes in the student's strength. Shangguan Liuli's profound rank, since entering Intermediate Profound Class 2, had been stagnant at Mystic Profound Level 5. Chapter 1147. It was a month ago, after the Academy's vacation. Shangguan Liuli seemed to have an epiphany. There was a qualitative leap in her profound grade. The person was still the arrogant, willful, arrogant and rude Shangguan Liuli. However, her strength was invisibly matched with her arrogance. Earth Profound Grade. This was the last profound grade that the teacher knew. This was the last profound grade test before setting off from the Academy to the West Lawn Square. The Academy's wooden token would not have the slightest bit of falsehood. Nor would it conceal the student's profound grade. That was to say, in less than a day, Shangguan Liuli had directly advanced from the early stage of the Earth Profound Realm to the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm. No. Impossible. No one could do it in such a short period of time, to advance so many grades in succession. Could it be? Shangguan Liuli's Academy wooden token had a problem. Right. It was very likely that there was a problem with the Academy wooden token. The teacher looked at the arena with trepidation. Intermediate Profound Class 2 was at an advantage, but he didn't feel excited or proud at all. He only felt an extremely strange feeling, pervaded the bottom of his heart. On the arena, Long Yunjian had hidden his strength at this time. But his perceptive ability had far surpassed Shangguan Luli's. As soon as he felt Shangguan Luli's action, he quickly retreated and was not hurt by the force of Shangguan Luli. The long sword fiercely stabbed into the arena. Using the sword as a support, he stabilized his body. Raging winds and huge waves, his azure blue eyes were still clear. Quietly staring at Shangguan Luli, who was still roaring, still shouting, his eyes were cold. Using profound yin qi, dark force objects to participate in the competition. This was originally a big taboo in all the competitions in the Nirvana realm. Just like when Yi Qingling used the profound yin sword to participate in the assessment. It was considered a violation of the rules. Shangguan Liuli and the students of Intermediate Profound Class 2 dared to use it openly in the arena. Because they hid the profound yin qi in their bodies. If not for the battle with them, absolutely could not feel the existence of this power. Not right. Even if it was against them, those who did not know would not suspect that the sudden strong power was the profound yin qi of the dark force. Shangguan Liuli actually used the Xian yin qi to directly raise her Xian rank to the 5th level of the Earth Xian realm. Wasn't she afraid that the elders of the main courtyard would discover the mysterious yin qi? Wasn't she worried that this body of hers simply wouldn't be able to withstand the profound strength of the Earth Profound realm? Wasn't she afraid of self-detonation? Shangguan Liuli answered these questions with her own actions. At the 5th grade of the Earth Profound realm, the qi waves were monstrous. His attacks were decisive and ruthless. It was as if he was a completely different person. They had been replaced by tools controlled by the mysterious yin energy. A tool to defeat the devil class. Such as Shangguan Liuli, even if the devil class students released their true profound energy, they might not be able to defend against her. Long Yunjian was forced to the edge of the stage several times. Devil class's disadvantage was becoming more and more obvious. However, even if these students were forced to retreat, even if their bodies were riddled with wounds, they would not give up. Every time they arrived at the edge of the arena, they would pounce forward as if they'd gone mad in an attempt to turn the situation around. I will not admit defeat. He would never lose. Long Yunjian could completely restrain Earth Profound Realm cultivators who were at the 5th grade. But the other students in the Devil class could not be compared to the stronger students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. After a few rounds of fighting, Devil class students only had one belief in their hearts. Chapter 1148. Once she lost, Yi Qingluo would have to face broken meridians and the blood oath of destroying her profound jade heart. They couldn't afford to lose. Devil classes students became braver the more they fought, without any fear. Even though they were covered in wounds, they climbed up once again to face the attacks from the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students and retaliated. A few of the students had already secretly released their true strength. But this didn't change the situation of Devil class. Long Yunjian and Shangguan Luli were entangled together. Shangguan Liuli, who was at the 5th stage of the Earth Profound Realm, had already become a killing tool. Every move was fatal. Long Yunjian couldn't be like before, fighting with Shangguan Luli while observing the situation of Devil class's students. Below the ring, from the amazement of Shangguan Liuli's sudden rise in profound rank, they were gradually infected by the atmosphere of the desperate battle between the two sides. Finally, they saw Devil class's students. After falling down time and time again, they climbed up again and again, fearlessly charging towards their opponents. No one cried out in pain. No one admitted defeat. Fresh blood oozed out and their faces turned purple. Even so, it couldn't hide the pair of crystal-clear eyes. Determination, faith. Hoarse voices came out from their mouths. They said every word, an oath that touched their hearts. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. This This was what countless of them lacked. But today, they saw it in a class that they had always looked down on. The world is not dead, we will not surrender. What kind of willpower did they have to be able to say such words? Her heart inexplicably felt sorry for Devil Class's students. The gaze towards Devil Class was no longer the mockery and ridicule. Especially those students who were originally watching a joke, one by one they stopped talking, their hearts were filled with shock. Acutely sensing the surrounding atmosphere, it was obviously different from the previous passionate worship towards her. Shangguan Liuli looked coldly below the stage, sweeping her gaze around. Even the eyes of the intermediate profound Class 2 students were sparkling with tears, as if they were touched, as they looked deeply at the Devil Class. Just a bunch of trash. On what basis did they win the hearts of the various forces? This was a place that revered power. Without power, even if they could resist, what was the use? What was there to be shocked about? What was there to be touched about? Just a bunch of trash. Anger, burning wantonly. Profound chi surged violently. Boom boom boom, profound energy that hid the sky and covered the earth enveloped the entire arena. The wind howled and the hurricane stirred. The violent collision and explosion of profound energy caused an indescribable shock to rise in one's heart. Ah, bang! The sound of heavy objects landing on the ground was extremely obvious in the tumbling waves. The surrounding Devil Class students were all sent flying to the ground. A few students were unable to withstand Shangguan Liuli's sudden burst of energy. He clutched his chest and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. All of them lay on the ground, their faces pale. Ha ha ha. A bunch of trash, a bunch of ants. You want to compete with the sun and moon. Shangguan Liuli laughed maniacally. The mysterious yin qi flowing in the depths of his eyes had already covered the whites of his eyes. She didn't try to hide it. There was no need to hide it anymore. What interclass competition? What do you mean by champion? She was not interested. What she wanted was to see Yi Qing Luo suffer for the rest of her life. As long as he could torture these students of Devil Class till they were unrecognizable, then bring them to his lord. In front of Yi Qing Luo, he killed all these people one by one. That was enough. Anyway, her entire life had already been handed over to the dark forces. Don't worry, I will bring all of you who are living a life worse than death to meet that slut Yi Qing Luo. Profound chi, stirred once again. Shangguan Liuli's sleeves tugged and directly rapped the few powerless Devil Class students on the ground. Just at this moment, a bewitching red glow suddenly shot out. Chapter 1149. A few Devil Class students instantly fell onto the ground. Shangguan Liuli missed and her expression sunk. The sinister smile on her face slowly congealed on her face. That red glow was bewitching and glaring. Following that, a flame-like feather fan sped over. Like a leaping flame, it blossomed with the most beautiful splendor in midair. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The spinning sound of the feather fan drew a deafening piercing sound in the air. It shook the entire arena, causing it to shake continuously. That piercing sound was filled with a biting cold murderous intent. It completely overshadowed all the discussions in the arena, overshadowed the Shangguan family's jubilant cheers. Between heaven and earth, it was as though there was only that voice left. Like thunder, a voice that shook the heaven and earth. The feather fan directly closed in on Shangguan Liuli. A strong aura instantly enveloped the entire arena. Air waves raged, flames burned wantonly, stacking layer upon layer. Shangguan Liuli instinctively turned sideways, trying to avoid that feather fan's attack. Even without the profound yin chi's control, she also wanted to avoid the feather fan. She had a hunch that if she was struck by this feather fan, she would absolutely die. Ah, her feet had just moved. That nearing feather fan suddenly transformed into numerous fangs and claws, roaring angrily. It directly entangled Shangguan Liuli entirely within. This was obviously an illusory fire dragon. But unfortunately, the temperature of the fire dragon was so real. So real that Shangguan Liuli felt that she was about to be roasted. She could even smell the fragrance of meat on her body. The feather fan was still encircling Shangguan Liuli's body, revolving continuously. The air waves stacked, as the imposing manner became stronger and stronger. The entire arena's air was completely controlled by that feather fan. Qing Luo. It's boss Qing Luo. Madam Qing Luo. Joyful voices were heard from those devil class students. Those students who were originally suppressed by Shangguan Liuli's strong imposing manner, all started to climb up, their eyes filled with joy. In devil class's waiting area, all the students had already stood up. Their eyes were filled with joy, some even cried out in agitation. That was Yi Qing Luo's glower flame fan. That powerful energy, familiar and warm. That was Yi Qing Luo's energy. She was back. She really came back safe and sound. They had finally waited for their boss Qing Luo. Hearing devil class's students' wild and ecstatic shouts, everyone's vision was fixed on the red feather fan that had suppressed Shangguan Liuli to the point where she could not resist at all. His heart tightened little by little. He was shocked. He had heard of Yi Qing Luo's powerful ability, heard that Yi Qing Luo possessed the divine dragon and the sacred beast white tiger. How could a 15-year-old girl be so powerful? But seeing it with his own eyes was a different kind of shock. This kind of shock was far more shocking than the news of Shangguan Liuli being a 5th-grade Earth Xian. Shangguan Liuli, who was entangled by the fire dragons, felt as if her consciousness was being devoured by the countless fire dragons. She couldn't breathe. The moment he breathed in, his nostrils were filled with a scorching hot air. She couldn't open her eyes. By the side of her ears, numerous people were shouting Yi Qing Luo's name. Her delicate body, which was unable to move, suddenly stiffened. Yi Qing Luo. How could Yi Qing Luo possibly appear? That woman had fallen into his lord's trap. Wasn't it impossible for that woman to come back alive? Why did she rush over to the competition venue? Numerous fire dragons kept tightening, twisting. Shangguan Liuli, do you want revenge? In her mind, that familiar hoarse voice rang coldly. She shut her eyes in pain. Chapter 1150. This voice clearly knew the desire in her heart. This voice gave her the strength she had now, giving her enough ability to stand here and receive the envious and respectful gazes from everyone. Want revenge? Yes. It was because of her desire for revenge that she had sold her soul to the dark forces without any hesitation. She wanted to obtain powerful strength, to crush Yi Qing Luo under her body, making her unable to turn over. This was her chance to prove herself. This was her chance to make a name for herself. She must not let Yi Qing Luo destroy everything that she had sacrificed her soul for. Yes. I want revenge. I want to destroy Yi Qing Luo, to see her living a life worse than death. A strong hatred filled her body and mind. A burst of profound yin qi completely wrapped her up. Power, a steady stream of power, flowed violently in her body. It was the power that she longed for. Shangguan Liuli greedily absorbed that power, expanding her profound qi again and again. Earth profound 6th grade. What is that? The elder stood up suddenly, pointed to the stage, and his expression changed. That student named Shangguan Liuli, how dare she cheat in the competition? Such a dense dark aura brought with it a chill that made one's hair stand on end. Thinking back to the dark forces that had been spreading in the Nirvana realm in the past few days. The elder's face sunk, what a great heavenly academy. For a competition, they didn't hesitate to make a deal with the dark forces. No matter how I look, I feel that there is something wrong with this student, Shangguan Liuli, a young girl. How could she burst from the earth-profound realm to the earth-profound 5th grade in an instant? Shangguan family is too much. How dare she cheat in front of our elder? Is she disregarding the headquarters, disregarding the other academies, disregarding the various forces? Intermediate profound class 2 disqualified. The academy does not accept any form of cheating in the competition. The elder gritted his teeth, filled with righteous indignation. The student dared to cheat in front of them. Obviously she did not put the headquarters in their eyes. Elders, calm down. This student absolutely would not be so silly to cheat in front of you. There must be a reason behind this. The director panicked, cursing Shangguan Liuli in his heart for not being able to control the profound yin qi because of anger, ruining his plan. Now that things had already happened, he had to think of a way to remedy it. What else is there to say? This old man saw it with my own eyes. How can it be fake? The dean wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead. Look, just now the devil class students were so defeated that they couldn't even put up a fight. How could they suddenly be able to move? And, isn't student Yi Qing Luo back? At this point, he stopped talking. The best way was to stop where it was appropriate. Sure enough, one of the elders from the main institute furrowed his brows and nodded thoughtfully. Indeed. Since Shangguan Liuli is cheating, how could she be so foolish as to show it in front of everyone without holding anything back? On the contrary, classmate Yi. His gaze surveyed the surroundings but he didn't see Yi Qing Luo at all. Yi Qing Luo had suddenly returned. Shangguan Liuli unleashed the power of the dark forces. How could things be so coincidental? In the direction of the general courtyard, everyone was already arguing with their own opinions. A clear and melodious voice, like pearls falling onto a plate, sweet and melodious, devil classes Yi Qing Luo, returns. Dressed in a fiery red robe, he drew a beautiful afterglow in the sky. Chapter 1151. The strong airwave wantonly blew against the young lady's skirt. 3,000 black hair swayed along with the wind. As though stepping on a bunch of cherry red petals, stepping on the air. The young lady slowly landed on the arena. Following that, she raised her arm high. That glower flame fan which was revolving around Shangguan Liuli, flew a few rounds and returned to her palm. Her slender fair fingers, one by one, gripped the glower flame fan tightly. As it blended with that red flame, it looked especially captivating. The entire West Lake Square seemed as though it had been rehearsed previously. It fell into a dead silence. No one opened their mouth to speak. It was Yi Qing Luo. She was back. This devil class's students, treated as their faith, even if she was riddled with scars, they still had to hang on. This genius young lady who was discussed by various forces, who wanted to rope her in, wanted to subdue her. This mysterious and powerful existence. She rushed back at the most crucial moment of the competition. This competition, could there be room for a reversal? Numerous people's hearts, inexplicably surged with a firm belief. It seemed like, Yi Qing Luo rushed back in time. She definitely had this ability, to reverse the situation. Obviously, the majority of the various forces did not know Yi Qing Luo's ability, and only felt that the matter of Yi Qing Luo subduing the divine dragon sacred beast was merely an exaggeration. But unfortunately, after seeing Yi Qing Luo, they inexplicably believed that Yi Qing Luo had this ability. Perhaps it was because they were infected by devil class's strong willpower, or perhaps they were infected by devil class's spirit. Devil class firmly believed in Yi Qing Luo. They also subconsciously firmly believed in Yi Qing Luo. This was a kind of spirit. A kind of, enough to subdue numerous cultivators' spirit. In the direction of the main courtyard, the silent, senior Mo, looked calmly at Yiqing Luo. That blossoming cherry blossom, that enchanting figure, made him frown slightly. His vision, subconsciously swept towards Devil Class's waiting area. Indeed, in the crowd, he discovered that half-masked, dressed in purple robe man, elegantly leaning against the wooden chair, showing a languid expression. The expressionless face finally heaved a sigh of relief. She finally rushed back. In the end, Di Zun had successfully brought her back. In the arena, after Yiqing Luo kept the glower flame fan, the fire dragon which was coiling around Shangguan Liuli also gradually dispersed. Shangguan Liuli gasped for air, and her legs gave way as she fell to the ground. The sinister eyes that were suffused with black chi stared coldly at Yiqing Luo. He was in such a sorry state, yet he refused to admit defeat. Yiqing Luo sneered, the corners of her lips curled into an enchanting arc, revealing a trace of gloomy chill. Just based on you, you dare to call yourself Sun Moon. She slowly walked towards Shangguan Liuli. He lifted his leg and stepped on Shangguan Liuli's chest. He exerted a little force. Shangguan Liuli let out a muffled groan, and her body fell heavily to the ground. She did not have the strength to resist. Today, in front of all the powerhouses, I will tell you how the brilliance of my devil class students pierces your eyes. He was exerting force and moving his toes on her chest bit by bit. Pain, a heart-wrenching pain, came from his chest. His internal organs seemed to have been trampled into meat paste by Yiqing Luo's feet. She spat out blood, painfully struggling to avoid Yiqing Luo's feet. Painful. Yiqing Luo's brows rose, smiling like a flower. Painful is right, you will be in more pain soon. Shangguan Liuli wanted to torture devil class students to a living hell. Then, she would fulfill Shangguan Liuli's evil interest. Living a life worse than death, right? Chapter 1152. Shangguan Liuli was in so much pain that she had no strength to struggle. The direction that Yiqing Luo stepped on was coincidentally her heart. Yiqing Luo fiercely suppressed the profound jade heart. Shangguan Liuli did not even have the strength to circulate her profound qi. If she insisted on circulating her profound qi, I'm afraid Yiqing Luo would not hesitate to crush her heart. Why did Yiqing Luo rush back to take part in the competition? Didn't the Lord say that as long as Yiqing Luo went to rescue Yi Fengyu, it would be a one-way trip? Why, but Yiqing Luo appeared here. He had arrived at the most crucial moment. Due to the sudden increase in her Xianyin qi, her profound level continued to rise. It completely disrupted her rhythm of absorbing the mysterious Yin qi. It also caused the Xianyin qi in her body to be completely disrupted. Otherwise, how would Yiqing Luo have the chance to step on her chest? Yiqing Luo. You dare. You dare to do this in front of so many people. Shangguan Liuli's voice was hoarse as she saw the murderous intent in Yiqing Luo's eyes. She didn't want to die. Before Yiqing Luo died, she didn't want to die. There were elders from the main institute and representatives from the various powers and academies. She didn't believe that Yiqing Luo dared to kill her under everyone's watchful eyes. Yiqing Luo smiled even more enchanting. So what if I kill you? Intermediate Profound Class 2's Shangguan Liuli colluded with the Dark Forces and attempted to bring the Dark Forces into the Academy's territory. Furthermore, she assisted the Dark Forces and harmed the Academy's interests for the Dark Forces. Furthermore, she deceived the Academy's headquarters. I'm doing this for the sake of the people. Why can't I? Her words were spoken slowly and calmly. His voice wasn't loud, but everyone on the dueling ring could hear him clearly. As well as the elders of the General Academy. Shangguan Liuli lay stiffly on the ground. The black chi in her eyes was like black smoke, flowing continuously in her pupils. Hatred, resentment, jealousy, all kinds of emotions shot out from her eyes. You're talking nonsense. Shangguan Liuli suppressed the fear in her heart. She controlled the mystical yin chi very well. Even if she used the mystical yin chi to raise her profound rank in a short period of time, she still controlled it very well. It was impossible for the old men in the headquarters to discover her connection with the dark forces. At this moment, Shangguan Liuli didn't notice at all. Black smoke-like energy had already spilled out of her eyes. Strand by strand, they wrapped around her body. This was the profound yin chi, helping her to resist Yi Qing Luo's restraint. Once Shangguan Liuli's profound jade heart was suppressed by Yi Qing Luo's feet. Shangguan Liuli had no room to retaliate. The outcome of this match would soon be revealed. Shangguan Liuli could not lose. At this moment, the students from both sides who were still in the arena had already climbed up from the ground. Intermediate Profound Class 2, including Shangguan Liuli, there were still 6 students left. Devil Class, including Yi Qing Luo, there were a total of 10 students. However, there were already 3 students whose internal organs had been shaken by Shangguan Liuli's profound stage aura, and they had lost the ability to fight. They supported each other as they stood behind Yi Qing Luo, looking at each other. Go back and rest. Yi Qing Luo glanced sideways as her peripheral vision shot a glance at the pale-faced Long Yunjian. She looked away, and a trace of anger flashed through her eyes. They clearly had the strength to withstand the attacks from Shangguan Liuli and the rest of the Intermediate Profound Class 2 students. Why did he have to make himself look like this? Hiding their strength was indeed the suggestion that she had suggested earlier. But compared to hiding their strength and exploding their strength to slap those people who looked down on them, their safety was the most important, all right? It was actually because of her suggestion earlier. This group of people actually hid their strength, even at the last moment, they didn't explode. Chapter 1153. Inexplicably, her eyes felt a little warm. She pursed her lips and lowered her voice. After the competition ends, all of you will receive your punishment. Long Yunjian and the rest were stunned. Originally they wanted to refuse to leave the stage, not wanting Yi Qing Luo to fight alone. But after hearing Yi Qing Luo's words, all the words of rejection were stuck in their throats. Long Yunjian clenched his fists tightly as his gaze swept past those students who couldn't even stand properly. Finally, he lowered his eyelids and said calmly, "All the best." Saying that, he turned around and leapt off the stage without looking back. The class monitor had already jumped off the stage to forfeit the competition, the other students naturally followed suit. This action made the crowd a little puzzled. Is the devil class going to give up? Why are all of them jumping off the stage? Hasn't their belief, Yi Qing Luo, that genius young lady, rushed back? Why are they still forfeiting? Don't tell me they are all scared silly by the Intermediate Profound Class 2's ability and don't dare to continue the battle. Numerous questioning voices were extremely clear in the crowd. The more they said, the more they got the support of numerous people. They were all certain that devil class students were terrified and didn't dare to continue the battle, so all of them fled. Isn't Yi Qing Luo still standing on the stage? Looking at the current situation, devil class obviously has the upper hand. Don't tell me. Yi Qing Luo wants to fight 1 against 6. Seems like Yi Qing Luo intends to do that. Devil class students had already jumped off the stage and returned to the waiting area. Whereas Yi Qing Luo was still standing on the stage alone. According to the preliminary round rules, as long as there was a class of students on the stage, then that class wouldn't lose. Which meant to say, As long as Yiqing Luo fought 1 against 6 and defeated Shengguan Liuli and the other 5 students from Intermediate Profound Class 2, she would still be the winner of the 3rd round. Is Yiqing Luo looking for a beating? Didn't the Academy say earlier that the profound chi released by 5th Miss Shengguan is already an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator? Yiqing Luo seems to be an Earth Profound 4th grade cultivator? The difference between 2 grades. As long as 5th Miss Shengguan has a chance to stand up, Yiqing Luo has no chance to retaliate. Everyone was guessing the situation on the stage. Above the 6th grade of the Mystic Profound Realm, it was extremely difficult to advance even 1 grade. Not to mention the Earth Profound Realm, which could be counted as an expert. It was very likely that an ordinary person would be stuck for 10 or 20 years and still not be able to successfully advance a grade. Earth Profound 4th grade Yiqing Luo was very powerful. But Earth Profound 6th grade Shengguan Liuli could obviously rely on the difference of 2 grades to completely crush Yiqing Luo. No pressure at all. Yiqing Luo was the first to stipulate that she was not allowed to use her Battle Pets clan leader in this competition. No wonder Yiqing Luo directly stepped on Shengguan Liuli's profound jade heart the moment she came up. He had no choice but to admit that Yiqing Luo's reaction and decisiveness was indeed admirable. Just as the crowd were discussing fervently, feeling that Yiqing Luo's stomp was just right. But he saw Yiqing Luo slowly moving her feet away. Moved away. The onlookers were dumbfounded. Holy shit. This was the only way to suppress Shengguan Liuli. Why did she give up on it? Could it be that she had overheard their discussion and felt that she had an unfair advantage, so she wanted to defeat Shengguan Liuli fair and square? This young lady. Was she crazy? Letting go of Shengguan Liuli was equivalent to sending herself to death. Why was this young lady so stubborn? Chapter 1154. Yiqing Luo didn't seem to understand the cries of the onlookers and couldn't wait to rush up the stage to stop her from releasing her leg. She looked calm as she released her grip on Shengguan Liuli's chest and turned back to the other side of the stage, widening the distance between the two. The moment the suppression of the profound jade heart was released, Shengguan Liuli quickly got up from the ground and stuck close to the direction of the students from the Intermediate Profound Class 2. Looking up, what came into view was Yiqing Luo's dashing back. Shengguan Liuli frowned. Yiqing Luo deliberately let her go. But, why? Yiqing Luo had no reason to do so. He chased his helper off the stage and loosened his grip on her. It was as the onlookers guessed. Yiqing Luo wanted to fight 1 against 6. Yiqing Luo was looking down on her. The darkness in Shengguan Liuli's eyes became more and more intense. A surge of anger rose from the bottom of her heart. Great! Yiqing Luo. Since you don't know what's good for you, if I don't beat you till you kneel and beg for mercy, my reputation will be ruined. My name is not Shengguan Liuli. Shengguan Liuli secretly said in her heart. Immediately, Shengguan Liuli clenched the only remaining double-edged dagger, her figure flashed and directly stuck close to Yiqing Luo's back. The double-edged dagger was injected with profound yin qi and a black mist lingered around the dagger, flickering with a cold glint. It went straight to Yiqing Luo's back and then swiped across her neck. This strike carried the aura around Shengguan Liuli, thick and tyrannical. Earth Profound 6th grade Profound grade, fully released, the terrifying aura was enough to make people tremble. If this strike fell on Yiqing Luo, Yiqing Luo would die without a doubt. The onlookers' faces immediately turned solemn and were all astonished as they looked nervously at the situation on the stage. Even if they could see that something was wrong with Shengguan Liuli, they could see that something was wrong with Shengguan Liuli's profound grade. Moreover, Shengguan Liuli's change was obviously related to the dark forces. But before the director stopped the competition and disqualified Shengguan Liuli from the competition, The competition on the stage was a competition. No one could stop it on the stage. Otherwise, it would be disrespecting the Heavenly Academy's competition system. Just when everyone's hearts were trembling with fear and anxiety, the young girl, whose back was facing Shangguan Liuli, suddenly stopped in her tracks. Shangguan Liuli's double-edged dagger was already stuck to Yiqing Luo's fair neck. Shangguan Liuli sneered, a black aura flowing in her eyes. How dare she stop in her tracks? Was he in such a hurry to die? Shangguan Liuli's hand rubbed down hard, a touch. He missed. The girl whose neck had been cut by her double-edged dagger was nowhere to be seen. Shangguan Liuli's face immediately turned aghast, and she quickly reacted by raising her dagger and slashing it towards the side of her body. A beautiful afterimage flashed past his eyes. Yiqing Luo's enchanting figure stopped a few steps away from her. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. Student Shangguan, who is at the 6th level of the Earth Profound Realm, is only so-so. A clear and melodious laughter, with a thick sense of ridicule, rang out in the surroundings. His words were clearly heard by the onlookers. The onlookers, holy shit. Miss, do you need to be so unreasonable? The opponent was an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. She would be beaten to death if she was so unreasonable. However, Yiqing Luo was unreasonable, and getting more and more unreasonable. Her figure suddenly made a somersault in the air. A foot landed on Shangguan Liuli's chest. Chapter 1155. Afraid of Shangguan Liuli. Afraid of an Earth Profound 6th grade Shangguan Liuli. Stop joking. She could even exchange blows with a Sky Mystic Overlord's Wolf Saint technique. Why would she be afraid of a Shangguan Liuli? If it was a real Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator standing in front of her, Yiqing Luo would definitely perk up and face the battle seriously. But Shangguan Liuli's profound grade was completely pushed up by profound Yin Qi. No matter how high her profound grade was or how strong her power was. But Shangguan Liuli herself was a waste. Shangguan Liuli had no way to control such a strong power. For example, you're a newbie, controlling a max-leveled main account. Battling against a small account who was 10 over 20 levels lower than you. Although under the suppression of the level and equipment, you could easily reduce the other party's health by half. But the other party was a small account who relied on real skills to rise up. She could totally use her skills and positioning to crush your main account. Now, Yiqing Luo was the same. No matter how high Shangguan Liuli's profound grade was, she could use Earth Profound 6th grade profound energy to attack her. But to Yiqing Luo, there was no need to care. In her eyes, Shangguan Liuli was merely a scum. Releasing the suppression of Shangguan Liuli's profound jade heart was indeed a choice she made after hearing the surrounding crowd's discussions. But it wasn't because she felt that she had an unfair advantage and wanted to defeat Shangguan Liuli openly. But her motive wasn't just to let Shangguan Liuli suffer a crushing defeat. What did Shangguan Liuli care about the most? Wasn't it reputation, status and ability? Shangguan Liuli wanted to become a person above the masses, to be envied and revered by the masses. Then what she needed to do was to destroy the things that Shangguan Liuli cared about bit by bit. Setting up a blood oath with Shangguan Liuli was like this. Shangguan Liuli cooperated with the dark forces because of her. But unfortunately, Shangguan Liuli wanted to lay her hands on the people around her. Manipulating Long Yunzhan to lay his hands on her, injuring Yan Xiaoyi, trying to incite a civil war in the world group. The people who humiliated her, the people who bullied her. Today on the stage, she injured the devil class's students to such a state. Shangguan Liuli. She wanted to turn her name into a joke today. She would let Shangguan Liuli have a good taste of what it was like to be unable to live or die. Shangguan Liuli let out a blood-curdling scream as her body was sent flying by the kick. His entire body fell heavily on the arena, causing the arena to explode into countless fragments. Insta-kill. It was just a simple kick, and Shangguan Liuli was sent flying. The onlookers were dumbfounded. The onlookers were stunned. In any case, Shangguan Liuli was a level 6 Earth Profound Xian practitioner. How on earth did Yiqing Luo avoid Shangguan Liuli's dagger? Her speed was actually faster than Shangguan Liuli. And he could easily kick Shangguan Liuli away. This girl, actually, it's not just a mere Earth Profound 4th grade Profound rank, right? Hearing the gasps from the crowd, as well as the disdainful gazes that landed on him, he felt a chill run down his spine. The taut string in Shangguan Liuli's mind snapped. Her little face contorted into a hideous grimace. Her eyes were filled with black mist. Yiqing Luo. I'm going to kill you. Shangguan Liuli's body was like a swift and violent wild cat, as she sprung up from the ground. The dagger in her hand slashed towards Yiqing Luo's face without a care for her life. But Yiqing Luo only looked at her with a smile. That smile was filled with provocation and ridicule. Chapter 1156. Boss Qing Luo. Devil classes students clenched their fists as they stood up anxiously, their eyes filled with worry. Even though they knew how powerful Yiqing Luo was. But Shangguan Liuli was after all an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator who possessed profound Yin Qi. If Shangguan Liuli played dirty and their boss Qing Luo was injured, what should they do? Looking at Shangguan Liuli waving her dagger at Yiqing Luo several times, the dagger was close to Yiqing Luo's fatal spot several times. Their hearts started to tremble uncontrollably. Who will win this duel? At the devil class's waiting area, all the class monitors or representatives from the other classes had gathered. After seeing devil class and intermediate profound class 2, 9 against 10. The students' views towards devil class had changed. Dong Huanglang grabbed Qi Yijing's arm tightly as he said worriedly, Shangguan Liuli is an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator, and something is obviously wrong with her. Student Yi has no advantage in this battle. Don't look at the current situation, Yiqing Luo had crushed Shangguan Liuli. But Shangguan Liuli's profound grade rose sharply at irregular intervals and burst out powerful profound qi at irregular intervals, defeating the people on the stage. Yiqing Luo would always be at a disadvantage. Intermediate profound class 1's monitor rubbed his chin. Student Shangguan's ability to increase her profound grade at irregular intervals should have stopped. If he was able to continuously increase his profound strength without any restrictions. It was simply too heaven-defying. Even if the director didn't say anything. All the students were going to join hands and strongly demand an end to this unfair competition. Qing Luo will never fight a battle she has no confidence in. Long Yunzhan's cold voice suppressed the crowd's discussion. Since she asked us to give up, she must have the confidence to win. The students were stunned as they nodded their heads. Indeed so. Yiqing Luo would never do something she had no confidence in. Since she dared to do it, she must have 100% confidence or had thought of a foolproof plan. So what if Shangguan Liuli's profound grade rose sharply? Yiqing Luo would definitely win. And at this moment, Yiqing Luo, who had a faint smile on her face, calmly looked at the dagger which was heading towards her. The dagger's black qi swirled like a hurricane, bringing along a wild wave of air. Yiqing Luo's smile became sweeter as the strong wind blew her hair and her red robe. Her face, which was already beautiful enough to topple cities, was now even more captivating. Breathtaking, stunning beauty. Shangguan Liuli's eyes were filled with black qi as a strong killing intent and battle intent surged out from her body. Shangguan Liuli's only thought at this moment was to kill Yiqing Luo. Destroy Yiqing Luo's current breathtaking look. The dagger was infused with mysterious Yin Qi. The power of the earth profound sixth grade was fully unleashed as it slashed towards Yiqing Luo's face. Clang! The dagger trembled and a sharp glint appeared. An enchanting red light pierced Shangguan Liuli's eyes. In front of him, the glowing flame fan had blocked Shangguan Liuli's double-edged dagger. From the looks of it, it was just a casual move. However, Shangguan Liuli was suppressed to the point that the dagger could not move forward at all. A twisted wrath appeared on his malevolent face. Shangguan Liuli tightened her fingers and increased the mysterious yin qi on the dagger. Her entire body was filled with a terrifying power. With a flick of her fingers, the dagger flashed past the bottom of the glower flame fan and pierced towards Yiqing Luo. But unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo seemed to have predicted her next move. At the same time as she flipped, the devouring flame fan in Yiqing Luo's hands also opened downwards at the same time. Coincidentally, it blocked Shangguan Liuli's dagger attack once again. Chapter 1157. Pft! Fresh blood spurted out from Shangguan Liuli's mouth. Like a rain of blood, it splattered on the arena. Her body, once again, was like a kite with a broken string, smashing heavily onto the ground. Shangguan Liuli coughed in pain. Every time she coughed, the blood from her heart filled her mouth. Blood spilled out from the corner of her mouth. Shangguan Liuli was battered and exhausted. Yiqing Luo still had a smile on her face, in a carefree manner. At this moment, Yiqing Luo appeared to be even more stunning. The crowd had already been crushed by this scene, as they screamed out in shock. The moment Yiqing Luo went up on stage, she directly crushed Earth Profound 6th grade Shangguan Liuli, till nothing was left. How strong was Yiqing Luo? No wonder Yiqing Luo asked her injured classmates to give up first. She was wild, she was arrogant. Why? Because Yiqing Luo had the right to be arrogant and arrogant. It was just a matter of minutes for her to crush an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. The crowd's eyes were burning. Many of the powerhouse's representatives, the academy's representatives, were emitting a burning feeling in their eyes. If it was possible, she really wanted to cross hands with Yiqing Luo, to see how strong her ability was. Shangguan Liuli was kicked several times, her hair disheveled, like an evil spirit, battered and exhausted. Her heart was already filled with shock. But most of it was the growing hatred towards Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo did it on purpose. Yiqing Luo was intentionally humiliating her, making her lose face in front of the crowd. Yiqing Luo would not kill her easily. Instead, he used such a method to continuously humiliate her, causing her to be so embarrassed in front of the eyes of the public. Shangguan Liuli couldn't believe it. She was an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator. How could she be abused by Yiqing Luo? Obviously. Before Yiqing Luo appeared, she was the overlord who controlled the arena. She was the goddess in everyone's eyes. She could see everyone's envy and admiration towards her in everyone's eyes. After this battle, her innate talent could totally enter the class of gods, and be envied by everyone. But Yiqing Luo's appearance made Shangguan Liuli completely realize that the power which she was so proud of, was simply a joke. Are you surprised that an Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator is unable to defeat me, an Earth Profound 4th grade cultivator? Yiqing Luo raised her brows and smiled provocatively. Shangguan Liuli raised her eyes in shock, not understanding how Yiqing Luo could guess her thoughts. She covered the sharp pain in her chest and forced herself to stand up. All his willpower was placed on the hatred towards Yiqing Luo. The power of this hatred was enough to make a spoiled young lady like her throw away all the arrogance and willfulness she once had. Only for one purpose. 1. The motive of killing Yiqing Luo. Facing Shangguan Liuli's undisguised hatred and dense murderous intent, Yiqing Luo smiled calmly. Her long and narrow eyes shone with a captivating luster. Because, he has the power of a 6th-level Earth profound realm, but it's just a useless body. No matter how strong his power is, the person who uses it is trash. The power of a 6th-level Earth profound realm is also trash. She paused, her smile was brilliant, unparalleled. Her eyes swept across the stage, those few students who were already stunned on the spot, not knowing what to do. Pardon my bluntness. She enunciated each and every word clearly. I'm not targeting anyone, I mean, everyone on the stage, are all trash. One sentence made the crowd fall into a dead silence. Chapter 1158. Dumbstruck and astonished gazes were fixed on Yiqing Luo. What was Yiqing Luo saying? Not only had she humiliated Shangguan Liuli, she had also humiliated the entire class too. The crowd roared in their hearts and almost wanted to rush up the stage to poke Yiqing Luo's brain and ask her what was she thinking about. On the stage, there were 5 students from the intermediate profound class too. They had been silent all this while, allowing Yiqing Luo to humiliate Shangguan Liuli again and again. That was because they were shocked, so they didn't make a move. Yiqing Luo actually took the initiative to provoke those students. This was forcing those students to perform a gang fight. They knew that Yiqing Luo was arrogant, But they had not expected Yiqing Luo to be so arrogant, so presumptuous. That was simply out of the world. Just as the crowd had expected. After being ridiculed by Yiqing Luo that they were a bunch of trash. The students from the intermediate profound class 2 regained their senses and revealed an angry expression as they stared at Yiqing Luo. Their muscles tensed up and their fists clenched. Each of them gritted their teeth, wishing they could tear Yiqing Luo into pieces. In their minds, they kept repeating Yiqing Luo's words of trash. Because of their successive victories, their arrogance and conceit had been humiliated by Yiqing Luo till not even dregs were left. How could they tolerate this? So what if Yiqing Luo was powerful? Even if Shangguan Liuli was unable to display the full power of an Earth profound 6th grade, so what? They had Shangguan Liuli. And she had the profound Yin Qi on her. 6 of them, would they be afraid of surrounding an Earth profound 4th grade Yiqing Luo? Go! For the intermediate profound class 2 to obtain victory in the preliminary round. Let that arrogant girl have a good look at our intermediate profound class 2's ability. Rubbish. Your whole family are rubbish. The students from the intermediate profound class 2 exchanged glances and at the same time, they attacked Yiqing Luo. Strong profound qi broke out of their bodies. The air waves around them turned into a huge whirlpool. Mixed with the profound Yin Qi's cold qi, it was a strong force that almost destroyed the stage. In an instant, the stage collapsed and the gravel and wood shavings flew everywhere once again. The students from the intermediate profound class 2 had been transformed by the profound Yin Qi. Not only had their profound grades increased tremendously. Even his own attack had been enhanced. The 5 students formed an encirclement, trapping Yiqing Luo in the middle. They gripped the weapons in their hands tightly, and their eyes were filled with intense anger. The air seemed to freeze under the combined attack of the 5 people. Yiqing Luo's character is indeed very pure. Qiao Jin wiped off his cold sweat. Provoking the enemy without saying a word. 1 against 6 at the slightest disagreement. They didn't even think about how worried their group of brothers were when they were sitting at the side and watching. Those 5 students from intermediate profound class 2 had already made a deal with the dark forces. They had clearly felt the power of those students just now. If it were them, they would be surrounded by 5 people at the same time. Even if he didn't die, he would be crippled. As for Yiqing Luo, she was still smiling and standing in the same place without the slightest change in expression. Her eyes were curved and her expression was indifferent. He didn't seem to care about the attacks of the 5 students at all. Immediately, the 5 students' fighting spirit was aroused. The flames on his body surged once more. Yiqing Luo smiled sweetly like a flower. You guys overestimate yourselves. Her cold voice and arrogant words reverberated around the entire stage. The feather fan between her fingers suddenly flipped over in her palm. Like a ball of burning flame, it spun around in her palm. The feather fan opened up and gave off a shocking red glow. In a split second, the surroundings were covered with hot air. Chapter 1159. The glower flame fan in Yiqing Luo's hand seemed to have a soul of its own. With a few twirls, it headed straight for the chests of the 5 students who were surrounding and attacking him. A strong aura surged into the sky. As the feather fan moved, burst out a burst of a swoosh swoosh sound. Under the revolutions. Because of inertia, after the 5 students were brushed past by the glower flame fan, they all staggered and fell onto the ground. Buzz buzz, bam, a deafening explosion sounded, causing the surroundings of the arena to explode into dust. The surrounding was covered in white, the spectators couldn't see clearly. But Yiqing Luo, who was in the dust, could see it clearly. Just as the glower flame fan brushed past the 5 students, Shengguan Luli, who was originally lying on the ground, leaped up. Holding the double-edged dagger in her hand, she took the opportunity to sneak an attack. This strike was obviously the real power which was brought out after the profound yin qi was reintegrated. It was thick and powerful, and it caused people to be astonished. If it was any other devil class students, they would not be able to avoid this move. Yiqing Luo's reaction was extremely swift. She immediately raised her hand, and called back the glower flame fan which was still revolving in midair. She flipped her hand, and swiftly blocked the dagger. The alluring red glow and that piercing silver light collided fiercely. The strong profound yin qi took the opportunity to swiftly coil around Yiqing Luo's wrist. The black smoke-like profound yin qi, with an extremely fast speed, swallowed Yiqing Luo's arm. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly. This profound yin qi wanted to take the opportunity to swallow her. She really didn't change. Yiqing Luo's eyes turned cold, as the feather fan flipped once again. The alluring red glow, from the place where the 2 of them collided, overflowed once again. In an instant it swallowed the profound yin qi into the red glow. Shengguan Luli's expression changed greatly. She immediately retracted her hand, trying to avoid Yiqing Luo's counterattack. But that smear of red glow was even more powerful than the profound yin qi. It could totally suppress the profound yin qi, to the extent that she was unable to release the profound yin qi. Yiqing Luo. How could she possibly have a way to suppress the profound yin qi? Profound yin qi. Wasn't it the same as the legend? Was there no way to break it? Why was it that Yiqing Luo was able to use her profound qi to restrain the dark force's profound lunar secret method to the extent that it was unable to be displayed? This was the reason why Yiqing Luo totally disregarded her. Shengguan Liuli was shocked. The crowd went crazy. Everyone's blood was stirred up by this exciting duel. Even they, who were outside the barrier, could feel the powerful aura. On the general courtyard side, other than the senior Mo, the other 3 elders all stood up as they looked at Yiqing Luo agitatedly. The dean and the elders immediately stood up as well. His face was filled with worry. However, there was a trace of hostility hidden in the dean's eyes. Shengguan Liuli, that trash. He actually made a mess of things. Not only did he not get rid of the devil class. Instead, he had exposed his identity and dragged the dark forces into this. If the Heavenly Academy was implicated, his position as the dean would be in jeopardy. Shengguan Liuli, from the first day we entered the academy, you viewed me as your enemy. However, since you are trash, I have never taken you seriously. Yiqing Luo spoke calmly, as her gaze turned cold. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. Especially those who offend the people around me, repeatedly hurting my brothers by my side. Her pink lips curled into a smile. Chapter 1160. Bam bam bam, following Yiqing Luo's words. A deafening roar pierced through the sky. The energy waves and smoke filled the entire arena. The crowd couldn't see clearly what had happened on the arena. Silence reigned. There was dead silence. The crowd's gaze kept searching around the arena. They wanted to know who was the one who burst out such a strong aura and defeated the opponent. Bam! Another explosion rang out. The entire arena exploded with a loud bang. The arena, which occupied 1/3 of the West Square, collapsed. Collapsed. The arena actually collapsed. The enchantment which enveloped the arena also collapsed at this moment. The horrifying aura was like a hurricane as it attacked the surrounding crowd. Everyone could clearly sense the strong aura emitted from the enchantment. The continuous energy was almost enough to destroy the heaven and earth. There were quite a number of high-ranking cultivators who had experienced the battlefield. At this moment, they were completely stunned by this horrifying profound chi. The smoke dispersed. Gradually, a slender figure appeared. Her red robe danced, dazzling and gorgeous. Enchanting and amorous, her every move was exuding a fatal temptation. She floated peacefully in midair, holding a red feather fan that was as red as fire. It was Yiqing Luo. Was it really Yiqing Luo? She actually released such a powerful energy. The young lady who was called trash by everyone, the young lady who was spurned by countless people. But time and time again, she blossomed with her own brilliance. She wanted to show everyone how powerful she was. Looking at the collapsed arena, the rubble and wooden planks were pressing on the intermediate profound Class 2 students. 5 intermediate profound Class 2 students had long lost their fighting power and fainted. While Shengguan Liuli was lying in the rubble, a heavy wooden plank was pressing on half of her body. Her entire face was pale from the pain, sweat dripping down. The uniform on her body was already covered with blood and was tattered. She looked extremely disheveled. The crowd stared blankly at this scene. Shock, astonishment, and finally full of shock. Just one person defeated the opponent. Earth Profound 6th grade cultivator, plus 5 high-leveled cultivators. And her moves were so casual, as though she didn't use her full strength and it was just a casual battle. It was too shocking. Butler Shengguan sat in his own area, feeling like he was sitting on pins and needles. Facing the Yuchi third head's mocking gaze, as well as Zhu Wuxin's cold and emotionless gaze, the Yuchi third head's expression changed. Butler Shengguan's heart was filled with apprehension. How could this be? How did the situation suddenly turn like this? Wasn't his family's 5th miss already at the 6th grade Earth Profound realm? Even with 5 students from the intermediate Profound Class 2, they still had no way to defeat Yiqing Luo. This was like slapping the Shengguan family in the face. Housekeeper Shengguan's face turned ashen as he clenched his fists and stood up abruptly, pointing at Yiqing Luo as he berated, Yiqing Luo. It was just a competition organized by the academy, yet you actually dared to be so ruthless to your fellow student. This is simply inhumane. Immediately, the Shengguan family's forces followed suit, determined to seek justice from Yiqing Luo. Coincidentally, even though Three Springs sect knew that Yiqing Luo was going to take part in such an important competition, no one from the Yi family came to watch the battle. The Shengguan family was relying on the fact that Three Springs sect would not stand up for a vile spawn like Yiqing Luo, So they angrily opened their mouths to seek justice for their fifth Mississippi, inhumane. Yi-Ching Luo couldn't help but sneer when she heard that. Her slender brows knitted slightly as her cold gaze fell onto Butler Shengwan. Since the Shengwan family had to jump out. Chapter 1161. Yi-Ching Luo turned around and walked directly towards Shengwan Liuli, who was pinned down by the wooden plank. Her pink lips rose slightly, her smile was enchanting and full of sarcasm. So, this is the human nature of the Shengwan family. Only Shengwan Liuli is allowed to kill me, but I'm not allowed to retaliate. Earlier, Shengwan Liuli's every strike. Obviously attacking Yi-Ching Luo's vital point. Every strike was fatal and merciless. She laughed softly, her eyes were filled with ridicule. The so-called human nature of the Shengwan family has opened my eyes. In this way, I will continue to use the human nature of the Shengwan family to carry on the human nature to the end. Housekeeper Shengwan's face sunk instantly. He didn't expect Yi-Ching Luo to directly implicate the Shengwan family. As the representative of the Shengwan family, Housekeeper Shengwan couldn't allow the Shengwan family's reputation to be tarnished. Immediately, he slammed the table and roared, "It's obviously you who injured our fifth miss to this extent." Still trying to quibble. "Ha!" Yi-Ching Luo snorted disdainfully. Her eyes swept across the various forces' representatives, the school's representatives, and smiled sweetly. The crowd's eyes are clear. Who is right and who is wrong in the competition? The crowd is clear. The Shengwan family sent out such an ignorant person to be the representative of the Shengwan family. It was simply a disgrace to the Shengwan family. Logically, when such a thing happened, even if it was the Shengwan family, they still had to avoid the eye of the storm. Or even to directly attack Shengwan Liuli, to protect the Shengwan family's reputation. But this housekeeper Shengwan rushed out to protect Shengwan Liuli, and directly accused others. Yi-Ching Luo didn't know what words to use to ridicule this self-righteous, benevolent housekeeper Shengwan. That housekeeper Shengwan indeed didn't let Yi-Ching Luo down. After hearing Yi-Ching Luo's ridicule, Housekeeper Shengwan directly swept a cold gaze across everyone present, his face gloomy. "Shueliang. This housekeeper wants to see, what the crowd saw was you bullying the Shengwan family's fifth miss, and even trying to kill her. It's really our fifth miss, who attacked you." These words were said beautifully. Since Yi-Ching Luo went on stage, it was indeed Yi-Ching Luo who crushed Shengwan Liuli one-sidedly. Shengwan Liuli's several ruthless attacks were perfectly avoided by Yi-Ching Luo and even retaliated. He hadn't succeeded even once in his attempts. However, it didn't mean that she had to take a stab from Shengwan Liuli to be considered to have been killed. The funny thing was, housekeeper Shengwan still thought that he was making a statement at the Western Continent's Power Conference. He actually wanted to use his identity as a member of the Shengwan family to threaten the onlookers. The people here were all forces from all over the Nirvana realm. A mere Shengwan clan, one of the four great clans of the Western Continent, how could they possibly put them in their eyes? Not to mention, if one were to talk about status. The person on the stage was the rightful young master of the Three Springs sect, the seventh miss of the Yi clan. After all, the Three Springs sect was one of the four major sects in the Nirvana realm, the strongest force in the West Continent. Any one of the forces present would step forward. Their status isn't lower than the Shengwan family, okay? Hearing housekeeper Shengwan's words, Yi-Ching Luo almost laughed her teeth off. He was not afraid of a godlike opponent, but he was afraid of a pig-like teammate. Butler Shengwan was simply a godly assistant. There was no need for her to deliberately guide him. Butler Shengwan had attracted the hatred of all the forces. If nothing unexpected happened, at this time tomorrow, the Shengwan clan should completely become history. Yi-Ching Luo smiled as she glanced at the representatives whose faces were getting darker and darker. The arc of her lips deepened. you're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.